Essential skills that teen drivers need to master. Learning to drive is an essential part of growing up and becoming independent. As a parent, it can be worrying to think about your teen behind the wheel on their own, but there are certain skills every teen driver must master before they hit the open road. The following are some of the most important driving skills that all teens should be taught before taking on the roads. First, teens need to learn how to read signs and understand traffic laws. This includes understanding speed limits, recognizing yield signs and other regulatory markings, knowing when to use turn signals and more. Knowing how to properly negotiate intersections is also key. This means being able to identify right-of-way rules at four-way stops or roundabouts, as well as learning what hazards, such as pedestrians, do or don't take precedence over their vehicle. In today's world, teen drivers need to master a variety of skills in order to stay safe while on the road. From operating their vehicle to understanding basic traffic laws, these skills are essential for teens to learn as they become independent drivers. Developing good driving habits and understanding the rules of the road should be top priority for all teen drivers. This includes knowing how to correctly use turn signals, read signs, and yield when necessary. It is also important for teens to understand how speed limits work and why it's important not to exceed them in certain areas. Additionally, teens should learn how to check their tire pressure and adjust mirrors properly before taking off in a car. In addition, teenagers must understand the importance of staying focused while behind the wheel, no texting or talking on the phone while driving. When it comes to teaching teen drivers the skills necessary for safe driving, parents and guardians have a lot of work cut out for them. The key is to ensure that teen drivers are well educated on not only the rules and regulations of the road, but also in mastering fundamental driving techniques. The most essential skills that teenage drivers need to master include defensive driving, knowing traffic laws, controlling speed, changing lanes safely, using signals correctly, scanning the surroundings in all directions, and reacting quickly to hazards on the road. Additionally, teens should be aware of how weather conditions can influence their performance behind the wheel. For example, wet roads require more caution due to increased braking distance. Understanding these basics will help teenagers become safer drivers as they gain more experience on the roads. Unexpected driving situations can be intimidating and stressful, especially for novice drivers. They require an immediate response and can be dangerous if not handled correctly. Thankfully, there are steps anyone can take to properly handle unexpected driving situations. The first step is to stay calm and focused on the road ahead of you. It's important to pay attention to your surroundings while maintaining control of your car. If you feel panicked or overwhelmed, try taking slow deep breaths until the feeling subsides. Once you've regained composure, assess the situation and look for any potential dangers that may exist in the area. It's also essential to react quickly but cautiously when handling unexpected driving situations, such as when a vehicle suddenly changes lanes or pulls out in front of you, as overreacting could lead to further collisions or injuries. Knowing your vehicle is essential to keeping it running smoothly and safely on the road. It's important to stay informed of regular maintenance, so you can keep yourself, other drivers, and your car in the best possible shape. Knowing more about your vehicle can also help minimize the time and money you spend at the mechanic. Regularly checking your owner's manual for service intervals is an easy way to know when it's time for a tune-up or oil change. Developing a good relationship with a trusted mechanic who knows your vehicle well can also be beneficial. They will be able to provide helpful advice or refer you to specialists that may be necessary for more complex repairs. Additionally, always make sure to ask questions if something doesn't seem right. Never assume anything when it comes to taking care of your car. If you're planning a long drive, there are a few important steps to take before setting off. Proper preparation can help ensure your journey is smooth and enjoyable for everyone involved. Here are some tips on how to prepare for a drive. Start by making sure your vehicle is in good condition. Check the oil, brakes, tires and other fluids before heading out. Make sure to plan out your route ahead of time so you know where you're going and which roads you will be taking. It also helps to have an emergency kit on hand with water, snacks, flashlights and other supplies in case something unexpected happens along the way. Additionally, make sure your phone is charged and that you have plenty of gas in the car before leaving home. Navigating intersections can be tricky and requires extra attention, especially in busy city locations. Before attempting to move through an intersection, it is important to understand the rules of the road for both pedestrians and drivers. Safe navigation of intersections requires an awareness of the surrounding traffic and pedestrians, as well as following all relevant signals. Here are some tips on how to navigate intersections safely. When approaching an intersection, drivers should always slow down and be prepared to stop at any time. If there is a green light indicating that you have right-of-way, proceed with caution while being mindful of other vehicles or pedestrians who may enter unexpectedly. Drivers should also remember that they must yield if another vehicle has entered the intersection before them or if there is a pedestrian crossing signal in effect. Teen drivers are at the highest risk to be in a crash, according to a new report from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA. The NHTSA's findings indicate that teens aged 16 to 19 have an increased risk of being involved in a car crash when compared to any other age group. This is due largely to young drivers lacking experience behind the wheel, as well as their propensity for risky behaviors such as speeding, changing lanes abruptly and distracted driving. The NHTSA urges parents of teen drivers to take actions that will help protect their children on the roads. Parents should talk with their teens about safe driving practices, create rules and boundaries while on the road and set examples of good driving habits. Furthermore, parents should consider enrolling their child in a driver safety program or course that can help equip them with essential skills they need while behind the wheel. Low tire pressure can be a major safety hazard for drivers and their passengers. It can lead to reduced gas mileage, increased wear on the tires, and worst of all, an accident due to decreased control of the car or truck. To protect yourself and your passengers from this danger, it is important to recognize a tire with low pressure as soon as possible. The most obvious sign that a tire may have inadequate air pressure is if it appears visibly lower than the other tires on the vehicle. Also check for any bulges or bumps sticking out from the side of the tire. These could indicate that there is too much pressure in one spot, which could cause a blowout when driving at high speeds. Another indication of potentially low air pressure is if you find yourself having to constantly add air to one or more tires after only a few days or weeks. Parking a car can be a tricky task for anyone, but with the right techniques and practice it can become second nature. Whether you are parking in a parking lot or on the street, learning how to park your vehicle correctly is essential to ensure safety and avoid unnecessary fines. Here are some tips that will help you learn basics of parking this valuable mode of transport. Firstly, recognize when and where you should look for available spaces. If there are signs or restrictions in place, make sure that you adhere to them before choosing an appropriate spot as per your requirements. Secondly, once an ideal space has been identified, check all around for any obstructions, then move forward slowly until your front tires have entered the space, keeping only a few inches away from other vehicles or walls if present. Driving on the highway can be a daunting task, especially for new drivers. It's important to understand the basic rules of the road and how to safely navigate traffic when driving on highways. To ensure a safe journey, here are some tips and guidelines on how to drive on the highway. First, make sure you keep your speed within the posted limit. Speeding is dangerous and can lead to serious accidents. Also, look ahead at least 12 seconds so you can anticipate any potential hazards or changes in traffic flow. This will help you avoid sudden stops or swerves that could cause an accident. In addition, always signal when changing lanes so other motorists can anticipate your move and adjust accordingly. Make sure there is enough room between you and other vehicles before merging into another lane so you have time to react if something unexpected should happen while driving. As teens take the wheel and gain their freedom, mastering essential driving skills is a must. Developing good driving habits for lifelong safe practices begins with learning the basics of operating a vehicle. Knowing basic safety rules and learning how to drive defensively are two skills that will help create competent teen drivers. For starters, understanding how to operate a vehicle by going through all the components of the car, including brakes, accelerator, turning signals, windshield wipers and other controls, is critical. Instilling proper techniques such as ensuring there is adequate distance between cars while driving on highways or handling adverse weather conditions, i.e.,